All right, what's up, guys? We are going to do a random teams for a box of autographs. So there are 157 total autographs in that box. We're going to go ahead and randomize the teams and then do the breaks. So again, there's only 26 spots in this one. I ended up taking out a couple of teams because most of these are 1960s to 1990s cards. So took out the Rockies, took out the Rays, a couple others, so on and so forth. So a little bit less spots than normal. So let's go ahead and do it. Let me make sure we are live, up and running. And I will copy this over to Twitter. Okay. Let's go ahead and do it. We'll do names first and then teams right after that. Going 3 times on the names. Here we go. Got 1, 2, and 3. Frank down to Tim. All right, Frank down to Tim. Let me grab the teams for you guys. Teams, we're going 5 times. So again, these spots will be for the whole box, 157 autographs right here. So whatever teams you get will be randomized, and you'll get the cards from the box. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Got Detroit down to the New York Mets. All right. Since there's 157 cards, I would also assume most teams hit. I would assume all teams hit since there's 157, but if there does happen to be any that don't hit, I will still send you some autographs from my collection and some other stuff like that. So let's go ahead and do it. Angelo, you have the Angels. Anthony L. with the Astros. Ben, you got the Mariners and the Blue Jays. Brian picked up the Royals. Chris with the Red Sox. Daniel, you got the Dodgers and the Orioles. Frank M. with the Tigers. Joseph E. with the Athletics. Joseph G. with the Cardinals. Joseph H. with the Twins and Rangers. Kenneth D., you got the Yankees. Michael picked up the Brewers. Neil with the Phillies and Cubs. Pat, you got the Reds, Braves. Thomas picked up the Giants and Padres and the Pirates. Tim, you picked up the White Sox, Guardians, Mets, and I think that's probably William. I probably misspelled that. You got the Washington Nationals. All right, let me copy that back over to Twitter. Again, there's only 26 spots in this break, too, so it's not the normal 30 spots, because this is mostly 1970s to 1990s era cards, so you're not going to have as many, Rockies, Tampa Bay Rays, all that kind of stuff, so I took those teams out. Let me upload this real quick, and then we'll start going through all of the hits. Random teams for a box of autos. Okay. Here we go. Good luck to you guys in this. Here's stack number 1. And there is stack 2. And we got some oversized cards in Card Savers 2. There we go. We are ready to go. If you're just tuning in, I just posted the teams, and I posted them to Twitter as well, so you can always rewind the video or go back to Twitter. But let's go ahead and do it. Good luck, you guys. Again, these are all autographs. I would assume all teams hit, but if there are any teams that don't hit, I'll ship you something too. First autograph is going to be Greg Maddux. These are the oversized cards right here. So Greg Maddux on the Cubs. We got Willie McGee on the Cardinals. We got Perez for the White Sox. We got Jim Ganter for Milwaukee. And Terry Pendleton for the Cardinals. So those were the oversized hits right there. Let's see what we got for the main ones. Here we go. This one's a cool one. Mark Fidrich. We've got Billy Swift for the Mariners. There's Doug for the Chicago Cubs. We got Kent Mercker for the Braves. Al Woods for the Blue Jays. Dennis Leonard for the Kansas City Royals. This is kind of a funny one. We got Sidelines. Looks like he's painting or something. What is this from? This is from 92 Score Sidelines for the Cardinals. We got Larry Boa for the Phillies. It's a cool one. We got Mike Jackson for the Mariners. Greg. We got Sean Abner, #1 draft pick, 1984 for the Mets. Scott Lewis. We've got Dick Green. That's actually signed twice. Looks like he signed it twice there for Oakland. We've got Mike Hartley for the Dodgers. Benny Carbo for the Red Sox. We've got John Matlack for the Mets. It's a cool 74, right? Yeah, 74 tops on that one. And we've got Dave Hansen for the Dodgers. That is the first stack. Let's see what else we've got in here. Brian Holman for the Mariners. We've got a 1960 tops Ray Narleski for the Tigers. There is a Mike Devereaux for the Dodgers. Art Howe, manager card for the Astros. Is my thing still live? It looks like it just rebooted on me. Make sure we're still looking okay. Yep, we're still good. Okay, Bob Stinson for the Expos, which are the Nationals in this. Greg Harris for the Padres. Duncan for the Reds. Jamie McAndrew. Wayne Garrett for the Mets. Tim Leary for New York. Pete Invictia for the Rangers. Brett Butler, not bad for the Giants. Jerry Brown for Cleveland. Les Lancaster, good looking auto there for the Cubs. We've got Reds hit right here, Bob Burkowski. And we've got Brock Fordyce for the Mets. Again, I'm probably butchering some of these names, but bear with me with some of these. We got Todd Zeal, Mike Gardner, Moises Alou for the Pirates, Jose Offerman, Ruben Sierra, decent one there for the Rangers, Jose Vizcaino for the Dodgers, Keith Mitchell, is that 89 Bowman? 90 Bowman for the Braves, Spike Owen for the Expos, which are now the Nationals, Ed Kranepool for the Mets, Jim Eisenreich for the Royals, Steve Lyons for the White Sox, 1966 tops Aubrey Gatewood for the Angels. I think that's 60. Yep, 66 tops. We got Donald Harris, 1990 tops, #1 draft pick there, Rangers. Bill Spires for Milwaukee. Another 1960 tops right here, Dick Hall for the Athletics. Got Dwayne Murphy for the A's. Joe Oliver and Scott Coolbaugh. All right, last stack on the first half right here. John Whedon for the Royals. 1958 tops Vito Valentinetti for the Detroit Tigers. Cool vintage card there. Tommy Green for the Braves. We got Kyle Abbott for the Angels. Leroy Harris. Carlos Baerga, nice one for the Indians. Roger, whatever that guy's name is, for the Mariners. Ted Lapiso. We have got Chicago Cubs, Paul Miner. Manny Mota, nice 1974 autographed card for the Dodgers. We have got a Fred Hatfield for the Detroit Tigers. Greg Olson, rated rookie for the Baltimore Orioles. We've got Lindy McDaniel for the Cardinals. Nice Cardinals hit. We've got Pedro for the Dodgers, and a nice George Foster for the Cincinnati Reds. All right, let's see what we have in the second half. Hall of Famer Whitey Herzog on a 1987 tops. We got a Leroy Stanton. Bill for the Detroit Tigers. Hal McRae. Kelly Gruber. Al Bumbry. Brett Boone on the Mariners. Luis Medina. George Baumgartner for the Brewers. Nice Bobby Valentine for the California Angels. Milt May for the Detroit Tigers. Bill Ashley, Dodgers. Dave Fleming, Mariners. Mike Broderick, Kevin McReynolds, Bob Shirley. We've got Diego Segui for, probably butchering that name, but Boston Red Sox on that. Frank Thomas, the older Frank Thomas there, going out to the Braves. Merv Rettenmund and Todd Van Poppel. Let's see what else we got. Mickey Rivers on a 1976 Topps card there. Juan Guzman, Brian Williams, Brian Barnes, Sandy Alomar Jr. That's a nice little rated rookie right there for San Diego Padres. El Sprague, Jim Bibby. We've got Luis De Los Santos for the Royals. Pat Combs for the Philadelphia Phillies. Kevin Mass. Preston Ward for the Cubs. We've got a Jim Busby for the Washington Senators. Dan Wilson on the Reds, #1 draft pick. That's kind of cool. Cloyd Boyer for the Cardinals. We got Bill Hunter, Todd Zeal, Mike Stanton, Rocky. We got Paul Scale for the Royals, 74 Topps. Woody Fryman, Expos, which will go out to the Nationals. We have got a Wes Westrum for the New York Giants, which came the San Francisco Giants. We got Jim Kaat, cool Jim Kaat card right there for the Minnesota Twins. Randy Jones for the Padres. Gary Scott and Paul Spritloff for the Royals. Boy, look at those glasses right there. That screams 80s right there. All right, let's see what else we got. Tippy Martinez for the Orioles. We got Thornton Lee for the White Sox. Jeff Burrows. We've got Jeremy Burnitz. Joe Nuxall. That's a cool one. Cincinnati Reds. Garth Egorg. Kevin. We've got Ernie Witt. Craig Graybeck. Mo Drabowski. We've got Doug Jennings, John Wetland, Johnny Oates, Bob Carpenter on the Giants. Vintage card there. Mike Hartley, Carlos Quintana, Tippy Martinez, Bob Baylor, Mark Wolders, Ron Hunt, Brian Harper on the Twins. Nice Bill Lee right there for the Expos, which are the Nationals. Dan Pasqua and a Mike Gardner for the Mariners. All right, last little stack right here. We have got Roy Howell, Ernie Witt. We've got another Mike for the Expos. Another Expos hit right here. Tim Foley, Kelly Gruber. Nice Robin Ventura for the Chicago White Sox. Brock for the Mets, I believe. He was on the Mets. Yep, Mets. We got Ricky Jordan, Ken Howell, Bob Stinson, Milt May for the Astros. Alan Worthington, Cordero. We got Denny, Jack Daughtry, Mike Codwell, and Mark Grace. All right, that will do it for the break. Tons of hits right there. As a little thank you for filling up this break, let me grab a little stack of some random cards that I'll add to the top of this. So let me go grab a stack for you guys. All right, this is just a little stack of some random stuff. We'll add all this stuff to the break too. Just grabbed a random stack out of a box. So we'll add this to it. Got a Curtis Mead, number to 250. How about a Jackson Jobe Black? There's a Matt Olson rainbow foil. We got a Zach Donoso player worn relic card for the Astros. Have a little Kyle Seager patch card for the Mariners. We got Andrew Benintendi on Boston. We got Nolan Shonowell, number to 99 for the Angels. That's not going to go to anyone because that's a football card. And we got a Melky Cabrera for the Yankees. So we'll get this stuff all sorted and shipped out to you guys. If there were any teams that didn't hit, I'll get you hooked up with some autographs and other fun stuff too. So thanks guys for tuning in for that one, and we'll see you on the next one.